We are rolling now.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
I don't think he turned on the recording yet, so we're not rolling.
Well, rolling on this.
On the Audible?
On the
Audacity. You had the audacity.
5, 4,
I know.
2, 1.
Skip 3.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Johnny's Reviews. You know the drill, guys. And like I said, I do want y'all to appreciate this new setting that I got. It's everything new, guys. New table, new backsplash right here. You got the, nothing. Some things still stay the same. As you can see, we got Bob Marley. Nice little Himalayan rock. Yeah, I know. It's a little cute one right there.
Does it taste like salt?
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, it does.
It's a salt lamp. Yeah, no. Well, yeah, guys, you know the drill. This is Johnny's Reviews, and some things just do stay the same. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say that, I talk about my other guest on the other side of the table. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy does not need no introduction. He has been here. He has been here before, ladies and gentlemen. You know he's a good spieler. He's one of my great friends, and I want him to come back on just so he can get another, feel of this new and improved podcast that I have going on. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Andrew Dagher on the other side of the table.
It's me.
Again.
How
you doing, man? You doing all right?
Wait.
Oh, okay. I forgot this dude's the tea connoisseur. Every time I'm with him,
connoisseur of tea.
Every time I'm with him on the podcast, tea has to be involved here. So
yeah, it does.
That's a given. But
I'm doing good, man.
Doing good, man. Doing good. It's been a while since you were last on, and I had a lot more guests since then.
It's been a while since you hung out with me.
Okay,
well,
it's not.
It's been like 2 days.
2 days. We went surfing.
Yeah.
And surfing, dude, I had so much fun. It was great,
fun.
Dude. I never thought I'd like surfing, but then I was just like, that takes a lot of skill. It took a lot out of us. Like, how long were we out there? 4 or 5 hours?
Yeah, something like that. 5 hours surfing.
Yeah. I don't know. He's cutting a pizza down there, but I can hear it.
Little Caesar out there. Got Papa Gino in the back.
Yeah. But, dude, I wanted you to come back on because the last time we did have some really good conversations talking about, technology, the future of that. Maybe talk about a little bit of the movie aspect, CGI. And, there's just like a lot of things that we love talking about. Like, how we always have like those intellectual conversations in the car and stuff. And it's car just, talk. I know, dude, car talks are freaking fun. But, dude, okay, so I wanted to kind of start off because the last time that we kind of vented was right after we saw The Lion King. And we're not going to get into really like deep specifics of The Lion King. I mean, if anything, I'll probably say that for another review, like an actual review of a movie, but... Is that what?
It's a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Dude, but I love The Lion King, like the 2D animation one. And this one, not so much. And there were so many big flaws in this movie that I thought need to be looked at closely.
Well, I like that you mentioned the 2D animation.
Yes.
Because I think that's part of what made the first one so good. Was that it was animated. Yeah. Like hand drawn. You can see like the animation, everything.
Right.
CGI.
Dude, I know. It's just like one of those things where people think right now that CGI is the way to go when it comes to improving a movie's standpoint. And I necessarily, with this movie, I disagree. Yeah. There's plenty of other movies before that, but...
So I think like CGI is great for movies that are realistic in nature. Like realistic by like... I'm trying to think of a good example. Like Life of Pi.
Oh, dude, that's one of my favorites, too.
Life of Pi is an amazing movie.
It's a great movie.
Pretty sure that tiger was not really in the boat with him.
No, of course not.
Pretty sure that was CGI. Which, and it looked amazing. It looked great, and it looked natural, which was the thing. It looked amazing. And it fit with the story well, and everything was good with that. Then you look at a movie like The Lion King, and you've already seen The Lion King. You've seen the animated thing. It's a silly movie in nature, like you know what I mean, like it does have its like dark moments, but it is, and they did it, the reason they did it CGI and everything was they wanted to like make it look realistic and how the lions would interact with one another if it were to actually happen, and they went and studied all. But if you think about it, it's like what lions prancing through the freaking fields singing about how they want to be king. None of them. So that whole scene just looked really weird and unnatural, and it took away from the vibrant coloring that the 2D animation had, which was part of what made the 2D animation so great, was the vibrant colors.
It made it stick out for sure.
It made it feel powerful,
Yeah.
and it made it. But this just felt like genuinely, it felt like boring and inauthentic. Was my.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because you mentioned Life of Pi, and that one slowly, for sure, reminds me of the Jungle Book. Not in the sense of like same story. It's just there is a human, and with that human, I think adds that emotion, it humanizes the whole feel, and I think that's, for me, that's initially what lacked in the Lion King story.
Yeah.
But I think that's why also it didn't do so good, because the Jungle Book was amazing. Like I think it was one of the greater CGI, door opening CGI moments of our time.
I mean, it looked
good. So great. And kind of how I see Life of Pi, it's just like you have one person, and your whole mind is on that one person, and then all around it, it's fake. Like it's just.
Well, what we talked about this in the car. It's like it roots you in reality, so it gives you it's not totally implausible that it could happen. It's like it puts you in the it puts you into it, like you're like, oh, this could happen, so it makes you like feel more attached to it. It makes you also think, yeah, this looks pretty natural. But when you see the Lion King, you're like, this would never happen. So, and then you see it like in real life, and you're like, oh, this is totally absurd.
Yeah.
Like if you see it CGI, because CGI is supposed to like really make it feel real, is what part of it from what I think of it. But when I see something that couldn't be real with CGI, then it becomes totally absurd.
It becomes like way out of the ballpark, and this is where it kind of goes into the next topic, that CGI and 2D animation, how the Western world revolves around CGI and revolves around like the computer generated look of a movie, as in, or maybe like TV series, it doesn't matter, but and then in the Eastern over there, like in China and Japan and Korea, they have like all it is anime, and it's just like it takes over. That is what is booming over there, and it's just like how can you tell a story, or if you can kind of differentiate which stories can be CGI and which stories can just stay as 2D, you know what I mean?
Well, I think when it comes to that, it's all right. So if you take, I'm going to speak on anime very briefly because you mentioned it. If you take Death Note, for example, you have the anime, which was raving reviews. Everyone loved it. It's amazing. One of like the best animes out there.
Right.
Death Note. And then you take Death Note, the movie, which is not animated, and they made a CGI Ryuk, who is the Shinigami.
Yes.
What? Like, I think the thing is, like, it has to be rooted in reality to the point where it's improbable, but not impossible.
But I think that's what extends 2D animation to be so out of this world, bizarre, and can hold its own there.
Because you're not, when you see a 2D animation like that, you're not thinking, oh, I wonder, like, if this could be real.
Life.
Yeah, like, could this be real life? Like, when you watch it, you're like, you're put instantly in the mindset that this is for your entertainment, and this is not something that you will encounter. Whereas, like, when you see something in, what's it called? When you see something in, like, a live action, and there's CGI and whatever, you're supposed to think, like, this could possibly happen to me. And with the same thing, like, even though that Death Note does have a human in it, now there's this impossible god figure, like death god coming down, and
maybe that kind of goes back on my idea, like it kind of discludes it now, kind of like, because I forgot about Death Note, and see, that's the thing, it's like if you don't have a good story revolving around it, or how to implement it, because you have so much criteria on one end, it's like you can't fit it all in one sort of movie. And we saw that with Dragon Ball, like how that movie was shit, and then you, like, it does so well over there, and you keep it animated, like, that's the one thing that can't go into a live action. It just can't. I just think it's too out of this world, the powers are way too overwhelming. It's just not going to fit.
So I think that's where there's a line drawn, is where you have to make the distinction between, if it's impossible, I think it's best to keep it animated. And if it's improbable, you can make it what's it called? You can make it live action, because there's a very distinct difference in people's minds between what they see and how they perceive things. So because when you see something impossible but meant to look improbable, you're like, this is absurd. And then you start judging it, and you start not looking at it for entertainment, but critiquing it.
Yeah, and I will leave that to the fans. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I think there was a lot of setbacks with fans about that movie. Yeah. And it kind of, it's a good thing, because I think they are getting into this stigma of like, okay, live action is the way to go. Live action. Next fucking movies that we're having is
live action Mulan.
Mm-hmm. And that one might work, but I'm talking about
I think that one will work.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be, they're taking away a lot of the things that make it an animated. They're taking away the impossible.
Yes.
And now they're bringing, I think that's going to really do well, actually.
The one with the two dogs, or I think, no, it was like Fox and the Hound. I think that was the one. They're going to make Lady and the Tramp, I think. I don't remember.
Lady and the Tramp's the two dogs that fall in love, yeah.
Yes. And I just don't know. Like, but the fact that they're just rolling on with this, I think they're just it's just a cash grab from then on. But that's what also is just the competition, and the way that they're presenting it is that, oh, we can just throw these movies out there and everybody's gonna love them. And I don't know. I don't know, man. That's one thing. But I also wanted to hit on the reason why we're going on that is just because you and me love Lord of the Rings. We adore it, love it. Yeah. And dude, I read a lot of your article, like the one that you were doing.
A lot of it or all of it, Johnny?
A lot of it. But I had more questions. That's why I was gonna wait to read the rest. But after you kind of we started talking about it, but you want to explain a little bit of what that was, so that way people know that what you're doing, and maybe they can have a sense of what you write about.
All right, in the most basic sense, it was a literary analysis but it was making a comparison between comparing the Lord of the Rings and Dante's Inferno, and trying to create a connection between J.R.R. Tolkien and how he was influenced by Dante Alighieri, who wrote the Divine Comedy, which the Inferno was a part of.
So, in that being said, you're pretty much trying to make a point of view of why he picked that, or
no, I don't. He didn't necessarily pick it. I'm trying to say I believe that he was inspired by it, because there's a lot of theories on what his inspirations for the Lord of the Rings were.
Right.
Like World War II is one of the theories. There's one of the, I think, mostly correct theories is Christianity. There's a lot of biblical references and stuff. So there's a lot of that to see where he drew and got some of these ideas from. And I was reading Dante's Inferno one day in one of my classes, the Inferno, and I saw one of the cantos was the Dead Marshes, and I was talking about it, and I was like, wait, this is exactly like the Dead. It was called the marsh, the river Styx, the marshes of the Styx was what it was in the canto, and the Styx is considered a dead marsh, pretty much. Another name for it, the Dead Marsh. And I was like, wait, Dead Marsh. And then I went back to the Lord of the Rings, and I read that whole thing. It's literally the canto, the punishment, the contrapasso is exactly the same as that scene from Lord of the Rings in the book, when they're in the dead marshes with Gollum, and they see all the skulls floating beneath, the dead bodies floating beneath, and all that. And the dead marshes was there to symbolize those who waged war forever. They waged war, they would die in war and be waging war for life. They're stuck there. Same in the contrapasso. So I was looking at a lot of those comparisons and seeing where it's by no means 100% true. It could definitely be false, but I think a lot of the comparisons, I do not think there's too many of them for it to be coincidence. And he was a big scholar on Dante. He was in the Dante Poet Society when he was a professor. So
that's because we briefly talked about this, and I remember kind of talking about you brought up the senses of religion, on how he used a lot of that to implement it in the story, and you see a lot of that in the movie also. But I think even in the book, there's a lot of quick references, or even just a really good way to initiate real life with a sort of fantasy reality, but why does it work so well with the book and Lord of the Rings in general?
Okay, so remember when I went back and I said you have to separate the probable from the implausible in terms of animation?
That's in terms of animation. This is what, yeah.
Right, and because I think that's like, because now that I'm saying this, like now that we're talking about Lord of the Rings, I'm talking about how amazing those Lord of the Rings movies were.
They're great.
Impossible.
No.
But they're live action, and they are amazing. And in fact, The Hobbit, well, actually The Hobbit sucked all around, but The Hobbit animation sucked. And The Hobbit live action, after part 1, after an unexpected journey, sucked.
Woo! Man, people are getting pissed.
No. Everyone, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you understand. If you think you're a Lord of the Rings fan, like
and if you are a real Lord of the Rings fan, you know.
If you're a fan of cinematography and you look at that Legolas and The Hobbit, no. Tario, you just made up a character. But not the point. That's not what we're talking about. But actually, that's amazing because we were talking about CGI. And I think there's a difference because a lot of the Lord of the Rings isn't CGI. It is purely live action.
Yes.
A lot of it's not CGI. A lot of The Hobbit.
Oh, that's all CGI.
All the orcs are CGI. Yeah. Everything is CGI, and it looks like so fake. There's a point where Legolas is running. I don't know if you remember, and not in the Lord of the Rings. In The Hobbit. I want to say it was in the Battle of the Five Armies, I want to say. It wasn't the Desolation of Smaug.
Okay.
It was in the Battle of the Five Armies. I'm pretty sure when Legolas goes to kill Bolg.
Yes.
And he's running up the rocks.
And you can tell.
And he's floating from rock to rock. And I'm like, this looks like shit. I remember watching it in the theater and laughing. Because that's the thing. When you see something that is so drawn from real life that it's what's the word I used before?
Are you saying it's kind of hard to get it wrong?
No. When you see something drawn from real life so much, like him running up the rocks and just floating from rock to rock, and like the way he was running up them, floating as they're falling, like defying like all gravity. Yeah. Even though he's an elf and like, yeah, I get it, but the way it looked, it's absurd. It looks absurd, and then you stop taking the movie seriously.
Yeah, there's plenty, I don't. You can go as much as even saying like there was a lot more people in the Lord of the Rings trilogy than there were in the Hobbit, or vice versa. Like, but what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot more, or even less, because I'm really just comparing it to the third one, the best one, The Return of the King, and just kind of saying that there was a lot of CGI, but yet there was a sense of balance between having enough characters to kind of make it seem real.
Yeah, there wasn't even that much CGI in The Return of the King, honestly. Like, I mean, a lot of the army in the back was CGI, but all like the main orcs that you saw and all the main goblins were actually played. They weren't CGI characters. They were actually played, and they look horrific, which is amazing. And it like gets that sense of, so you don't have that sense of this is absurd when you're watching it. You have like that sense of like you respect the cinematography and you respect the effort they put in. And I understand that CGI takes a lot of effort, but when you watch it, it looks low effort.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just because there's a lot that they had to do to get it at least as realistic as possible. But I mean, you're not wrong. Like from a fan's point of view, maybe it just looks like shit. Yeah. But for them, it's probably like another milestone that they've reached.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. When they like for The Lion King, I mean, beautiful CGI. Sorry to bring it back, Lion King, but beautiful CGI. I mean, it's like I was watching real lions. Shit. But then you add it to the story, and then it's when CGI and story. It's like when technology and story don't mix. That's the thing.
Dude, yeah, I think you're just bringing up a lot of good points there, and like even then, I just think that's where the movie franchise is heading in general. Is just the way that technology is kind of implementing in the Western world, how it should be or it will be, and I'm like, that's not entirely true.
I mean, we do set the standard. That's the thing.
As fans?
Oh no. I'm saying like Hollywood sets the standard. Like all these big studios, Disney sets the standard. Warner Brothers sets the standard. All of them set the standard. So it's like once one of them starts making that push, the other's like, oh, we have to get on that. And then they start getting on that, and you're like, well, you guys are kind of missing the point. I would like it like that. And they don't really care. They're like, this is the wave, and we got to get on the wave so we don't get left behind. No one wants to be left behind, but maybe they're not realizing, hey. And that's why I'm really happy they're making Frozen 2, because they're coming back to their animated roots. Like, they're going back to animation.
To animation. I wouldn't even...
Briefly.
I was like, I wouldn't even mind, like, if they made, like, a 2D animation, like, another animated movie, how do you think that, like, fans would revolve around that?
I mean, all right. I think what was the most recent one? Moana, I think.
Well, no. I'm talking about animation, like anime, like it's 2D animation.
Oh.
Not a still like.
See. I'm fine without 2D
I know, but
animation.
Are you really?
I'm fine without 2D animation because we do have better 3D animation.
Okay.
I think 3D animation looks beautiful and it looks good, and it still keeps you in that realm of. This is like for entertainment. This is not supposed to be possible. It's
right.
It keeps you in that, like Big Hero 6 and all that. Those are all 3D animation. I think they're beautiful, and I think they're beautifully animated. They're not CGI. They're amazing. But then if you take a movie like Big Hero 6 and then made it into live action and then CGI, then I think it would look shit. That's just me.
Well, it is a Marvel property, but
what are we talking about?
I'm just saying it's a Marvel property, so it could be implemented as a live action if Marvel did kind of want to make it. They could. They won't. That's okay. And in that sense, though, I think it's a lot of that actually because the conversation was brought up about not them, but like a lot of the fans kind of saying, oh, what if we go back to just 2D animation? Maybe just kind of like paint, because the last one was Princess and the Frog ever. That was the last ever one back in 2009.
That was in 3D animation?
2D.
2D? Like paper, drawn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if, as a play of nostalgia, I think it would kill, especially like now that everything is kind of shifted into this world of CGI.
I mean, it could do... I'm not saying I would be like opposed to it. I just...
It's not your. I mean, we're grown up, so it just makes.
I still enjoy it, and I love watching those movies. But
yes,
I could
do with that.
Not do without it. I would live without it. You know what I mean? If they didn't release another 2D animation, they kept it 3D animation.
Yeah,
I'd be alive. I'd be fine, and I'd still watch them, and I'd be like, "This is amazing." I mean, Moana is one of my favorite Disney movies, 3D animation, but one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. It's amazing.
So, where do you see the future of Disney? Like.
Hopefully they stick to the animation, honestly.
You really think so?
Yeah. In terms of their movies, hopefully they stick to animation. I do not want any... Like, I'm fine with the occasional live-action film.
Right.
But, I mean, I would very much prefer they stick to animation. That would look great.
Well, the reason I ask you this is because now with the Fox... The Fox merger and everything like that... Shit. It's not... I don't know if it's going to stay...
So, when I say Disney movies, like... I'm not thinking like I don't when I watch the Avengers, I'm not thinking that's a Disney movie. You know what I mean? Even though it's technically Disney, I'm thinking like when I'm thinking Disney, I'm thinking like that's the brand that you see right off the bat. You see the castle shoot off, and that's it. You don't see any other logo there. You just see the castle. It's pure Disney. Like, you know how there's Pixar Disney?
Yeah.
Just pure Disney.
Just pure as in like their studios, their how they started, because I mean initially it's just that when like Moana going down the Frozen, and it's just that's theirs, their property.
Right, exactly like that. Yes. And I'm fine with if they throw in the occasional live action. Pirates of the Caribbean, my all-time favorite movie. All time favorite movie of all time.
I think live action wise too, I think that's one of the greatest.
And they killed it.
Yes.
The first one.
To mention they had a fucking A-list like cast all around, and it was great. You got Orlando Bloom, you got
Keira Knightley,
Johnny Depp, you got everybody.
It was great. So I'm fine with the occasional live action from them, because all right, it's kind of like this. Right now they're going for quantity.
Yeah.
And I was actually reading something really interesting on that.
Bring it up.
It has to do with writing, but I'm sure it applies everywhere. There's like a graph. If you imagine a graph, and it goes when you're going up, so you don't constantly improve.
There's always ups.
You improve and you stagnate, and you improve and you plateau, and you improve and you plateau. And you can be doing something for a certain amount of time, right? And you're going to be improving, but then finally doing that same thing all that time, it's not going to get you anywhere. So you're going to plateau, and you're going to have to change things up a bit.
Right.
You're going to have to reimagine it. Like, you have to do some soul searching, and then you start to improve again, doing what's right for that time. And then you're going to plateau again, and then again you have to revamp it and improve again. And what I saw was, when you're going through that improvement process, quantity is really good, because
the more of
because
it, it's an
you're getting it, like you're experimenting, you're doing a lot, and you're improving as you're experimenting. You're getting feedback, you're seeing what's going on.
Right.
And then once you plateau, you're at that quality. You don't want to like put everything there, because you're just going to be putting the same amount of everything out.
Right.
You need to stagnate for a bit and really focus on one really good thing and make quality. And then you improve again back to quantity. So like you improve on quantity, and then you plateau at quality. But it's not like, oh, well, then I should just keep busting them out to constantly be improving. No, you need that plateau. You need to stagnate to see, like,
what is it that you have to improve?
Where is your quality? Like, what? When is your improvement working? When is it not? So that's...
No, dude, it makes perfect sense. But see, that's the thing. Like, they do take risk. I'll give Disney a little bit of that. Like, maybe more than ever now, just because, you know, Marvel and Star Wars, and, you know, you can bring up all these big ass properties. And,
are those really risks, though?
So, and that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I mean, there's some safety nets that they do pick, like Star Wars. That's one that they always can fall back on. And yeah, there's a setback between that, because there's some people that already kind of like, even Star Wars Land, man. I think it opened. I don't know if it's what they expected, but yes. And that's the thing. Like, I mean, it's great and it's filled with nostalgia, but there's a certain shift between how people perceive Star Wars, and I think that's just in younger audiences.
Picked a scab and it
I
hurts.
did, and it's hard. It's always going to be beloved. But
no, like, I physically picked one of my scabs and it hurt. Like, at the same time that you picked the metaphorical scab, I was picking my literal scab and it hurts. I'm still doing it though. All right, it's gone. I got it.
Bastard.
It's on your floor now.
Do you need a fucking...
No, your scab's on the floor. My scab's on the floor. It's fine. Hope you vacuum.
Best buds.
Come here often.
So anyways, metaphorically, it's hard, man. Like, like, growing up, I didn't really like a lot of CGI movies in general. I think I was just more of cartoons. Like, it didn't...
No, yeah.
And I think the way that they started implementing the new Star Wars, I think they had to adapt with it.
Yeah.
No, you're fine.
No, I
Oh, yeah, okay. But do you like Star Wars?
Yeah, I like Star Wars. It's good. Star Wars is kind of one of my, like, favorite franchises that I've watched. I think it's really well done. It's another classic, like Lord of the Rings, where you're watching it and you have the three main ones, right? I mean, it's actually kind of the same exact thing as Lord of the Rings. You have the three main ones, which are fucking killer. You have, like, the 1, 2, and 3, which weren't really 1, 2, and 3 chronologically. You have 4, 5, and 6 with Star Wars, where it starts. And then The Hobbit, you have are like the prequels to Lord of the Rings, and they sucked, just like the prequels to the Star Wars sucked.
Man, we are making enemies right now. You're just like, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's good. I already got
it. Bastard.
No, but dude, you're so okay. So are you a bigger fan now than you were before?
Of Star Wars?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. See, and that's the thing. Like, I think just growing up, if you thought the old ones, just because the way it lacked a lot of creativity for us kind of growing up, these movies kind of did it for us. I think the last movie...
Oh, these new ones that they're coming out with are kind of fire.
Yes. They're really good. Fire, yeah. Really good. But I think they're still playing the the role of trying to win us over and not the smaller audiences?
I don't know. I think a lot of smaller audiences.
Do you think? I think they just see Star Wars or lightsabers and they just love them.
Yeah, that's true. Lightsabers badass, no
yes,
matter
but
what.
I mean, like for them to actually be intuitive with the story,
Yeah,
I think it'd take them. I think
they are
teens.
targeting more teens to like
the older audiences.
40 years. I don't think the older audiences. I think they're like, you know what? They might have given up on Star Wars. Not for because like, so think about it. The older audience had their Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
They have their Star Wars. Now Disney's releasing Star Wars. Star Wars, why are they making more? Star Wars should be Star Wars. Let Star Wars be Star Wars. What's wrong with Star Wars? And they're like, it's the same story. It's the same thing, which kind of is America.
Who were you trying to impersonate there?
I don't know. Man, like that person. Man, Star Wars. Man. Yeah.
Okay, what were you saying?
Yeah. So I think that like the hardcore like old fans, I think that no matter what, if it's a good story and they like it, they're gonna like it, and Disney accepts that.
Right.
But if it's like the older people and they're watching it and they're like, oh, well, I remember when Star Wars was like this. They're like, I don't give a fuck.
Those guys that just want the old one.
Yeah.
They just want that.
It's like you're never gonna
story.
please them. Yeah.
Hell no.
And like they put a little bit of nostalgia factor into these new ones with like the story's kind of similar.
Kind of similar.
Very similar. 75, 90. But anyways.
What do we know? We just work at the parks. What the fuck?
Yeah.
We're little specks of. I'm just kidding. Specks of dust.
We are. Don't fire me, please. Don't want this. Make you stay away.
Oh gosh, that was funny. But no, like I mean, yeah, we're still beloved fans, but I think a lot more people are just kind of drawn in by MCU. And
because it's original.
Yes, even though they do.
I mean, they stole from the comic books.
Yeah, from the stories.
It's original.
I mean, it's fresh.
Like the movies themselves.
I think it's fresh.
Fresh.
Yes.
Original. Fresh.
Yes. And the fact that they have their own specific genres, like that's the thing. Repetitive Star Wars, different stories that kind of make up a
big
fucking
universe.
bizarre universe.
It's sick.
It's sick. And then you think about everything that they're about to own, like Fox's, like X-Men. You got the Fantastic Four,
and which is sick because this is what I like what they're doing with the push. Because you know how I said earlier that Disney is pushing the industry.
Yes.
And they're doing all this.
Yes, they kind of set the standard, and I mean they're one of the ones that do it.
And what they're doing by they're acquiring like the MCU, they're making the universe. Mm-hmm. They're making it this whole involved thing where everything is connected.
Right.
You have now you have X-Men coming in where they're gonna be like they do it in phases where the universe expands and expands. X-Men's gonna come in. They're gonna have an X-Men phase where that universe all is affected. I like that they're world building.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I really love that. It's like you're reading a book. They're writing it like a book. Like they're building upon the world slowly and adding more. And they're not throwing everything in your face at once.
Yes.
They're slowly introducing new characters. They're slowly introducing everything, building the world, expanding on it, showing how everything affects. And it makes for an amazing, like as an audience member watching it, I'm like, wait, if that happened there, how's that going to affect
everything else?
Everything else, like how's that gonna like Iron Man affected Doctor Strange? Like it was the same time period.
Spider-Man just left, and we're just kind of like, oh shoot, what the heck is about to happen?
Right, because they built that whole universe, and now
they're trying to revolve it, and then
they took a piece is gone.
Yes.
Which that is the problem with building a universe like that. But also when building a universe like that, it like gets everyone more involved, and it makes it feel much more impactful. Everything
like
that
it hits you hard when he leaves.
Yeah,
like, and
because
you just don't know.
Yeah, because you're like, wait, how's that going to affect all those characters that you have now cared about because you've watched them grown? So I really like that Disney's going for this whole like world building push on movies right now, whereas like before it's like very pointed. Each movie
they didn't have a set storyline to try to kind of fit everything together, and that can be going back to just Marvel in general, dude, because that's true. That is when I said like a book, it is like a comic book universe. Yes, and that's fuck, man. Like you think about all these different things that they did to just implement, like getting all these different studios to get together in the very first phase, and then getting somebody to buy them out. Disney is actually they're like, we believe in what you're you're doing. Let's roll with it. And they started to slowly pick up the pieces together, and they created this montage. And they did the impossible, man. They got Sony's Spider-Man to come back to the universe, and I'm just kind of like, you get a beloved character like that and throw him into a beloved company like that. Oh my God, you're going to make diamonds. You're going to make a masterpiece. And fuck, man, that's one thing where I just realized that you got to either buy into what they're selling, and this is actually going into the next kind of idea is Disney Plus. And I wanted to see what your input was on that, because
I'm gonna buy it.
I know we are. See, we're fucking buying, like,
I'm gonna buy it.
we buy into a lot of these different things that they already throw at us, and we're just kind of like, is this the right thing? Because there's already articles coming out, because it was $6.99, now it's like up to like $10.99, $12.99.
I'm gonna buy it. Hit me with a student discount, though.
More like a cast member discount.
Yeah. What you know about that?
But no, see, automatically we'll just buy it. We'll just go in there because they can sell it.
Yeah, of course they can.
Fuck.
I mean, they're pulling all their movies off of Netflix, and
contractually, slowly over time, they'll
Andrew loves his Disney movies.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like pirating everything.
Yeah.
I don't pirate. I'm not a pirate. I don't pirate. I've never pirated before in my life. I don't even know what a pirates are. Only pirate I want to be is Jack Sparrow. Arg.
He's a great pirate. Yes.
Jack Sparrow's a great pirate. I'm
Yes.
a bad pirate because I'm not a pirate. I don't pirate anything.
Anyways.
This is not an admission of guilt.
No, but that's what they're trying to do, actually, is they're trying to make sure that each specific person...
Actually, that's what annoys me, because, I mean, if I'm trying to make my mom buy it, I mean,
They're going to capitalize on that, though.
I'm a not buy it.
Just because you have that mom.
Mama Dagher's going to buy it. But, I just thought of something weird. But hopefully, I mean, she could also say, no, you're going to buy it. I'll be, okay. And I'll still buy it. But
yes, you will. But at the same time, that's the thing. Like, a lot of people already share accounts, or they do all these things. How are you going to fucking stop everybody from doing that? That's hard.
Yeah. I mean, there's some account, like Spotify. You can't share a Spotify account. You can't be on Spotify at the same time as someone else, which is absurdly annoying if you listen to music a lot.
That is true. I think it was just like two. You can kind of like log into two, like it was Netflix.
Oh,
really?
Netflix. Netflix, two people, up to like 2 or 3 people can be watching at the same time, which is cool. Because, I mean...
But that's sharing an account.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Though?
Right. But Spotify, you can't. And I think Disney's going to do the same thing. You can't be watching. You can have the same account. Like, you can have the username and password. I wonder if they're going to do it like IP-based. That would suck.
Yeah. But they're working with Charter, I think, or some big company to make this happen.
Because if they do it IP-based...
Yeah. Oh, you're fucked. I mean,
because you can't watch it from anywhere.
No, yeah, you can't watch it anywhere else, and that's one thing where...
But that wouldn't work, because if you want to watch it on the go, and it's like, wow. Well, now what? Because my IP's changing. Oh, wait. IP, though, is... They might do it like by like item address, like MAC address. Like you can have up to 2 items, like your phone and your laptop, or phone and computer.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I don't want it.
That's hard. I mean,
I don't know how they're going to do it.
I don't either. Cool. But, I mean, and that's just the security standpoint, dude. We haven't even talked about, like their D23 just came out, and like there's a lot of new things that are coming onto the streaming services.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring this up is because how do you feel about streaming services right now? Like,
dope. Do
you feel like that's going to be the replacement of everything?
I do hate the idea that it's replacing cable television.
Why?
Because I really liked cable growing up. I liked watching.
Yes, dude. We loved it.
I like the idea of just sitting down, not knowing what you want to watch, flicking through the channels, and then just like being like, all right, I'm content with putting this on. And bleh.
Can you not do that on Netflix?
I just feel like you can't, because you have to pointedly go through, and you know what you don't want to. It's. I honestly don't think it's as easy to scroll through channels. You have to click on something and then click play episode, and then you have to click back. And it's like a few extra steps, but it is annoying. Whereas like with the cable, next. Ooh, House Hunters. And then you can switch between channels really easily. You can just click last, and it'll take you to the last one, and then you click last again, and it brings you back. And that's how you skip commercials.
But why do you want commercials in the first place?
I don't want them. I want to skip them.
Exactly.
But which is streaming. But I know. But I just wish it was like stream cable. You know what I mean? Like
no, please explain that.
So like I can go through and say, because TV is inherently, when I think of watching TV, if I'm watching on Netflix, I am watching pointedly. I want to watch something.
Right.
And I'm watching, like, I'm paying attention, I'm watching it. When I'm, like, watching TV, like, if I'm watching, what are you doing watching TV? I, like, sit down, not pay attention at all, like, for half, look up every once in a while.
Yeah.
Kind of, like, zone out. It's just, like, totally brain dead. Just sitting there, like, little vegetable. Like, I don't know how to use that word.
What?
No, I just thought of, okay, like a couch potato. That's what I meant.
I'm pretty sure we said other words besides that one. That's so much more. Couch potatoes, nothing.
Yeah. No, because vegetable can be bad. Like, you know.
No.
It's like sometimes I just realized it's a derogatory term for like disabled people.
Oh. Well, it's nice to be informed on all these things.
Yeah. So don't ever.
Listen, man, I don't know. I never knew that, but at the same time,
I knew it, and as I said it, I was like, oh, wait, I didn't mean it like that, but it could sound so bad. But anyway, not the point.
Not the point.
Point is.
There's too many ways to say things now. It's 2019.
Yeah. Yeah, if I want to be a vegetable, I can't be.
If you want to be a fruit basket, you want to be a fruit basket. Is that even, I feel like that's another saying.
I think it is.
Maybe.
We'll make it one.
Fuck it.
No, anyways. But I like just going bloop, 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 and not caring. Whereas on Netflix, I feel like I have to care because I'm taking all the effort to select the episode.
That's so dumb, bro. I think you got like.
I'm sorry, dude.
Like.
Cable appeals to the lazy, and I'm the lazy.
I think Netflix appeals to the laziest.
No.
Does not.
No. The effort to go through and find what you want to find on Netflix, you have to know what you want to watch.
Put it up a little bit.
Don't tell me what to do. It broke. You have to know. Ow. You have to know what you want to watch.
Okay. So tell me this then. Are you the type of person that likes to come back every week and watch the same like let's just say like you're watching America's Got Talent or like American Idol, and then you're like, tune in next week for this?
No, I'm impatient, and that's why I like streaming, because I get it. Instant gratification.
Okay, so if I had to,
that's when I'm invested in watching something. I'm not watching cable to be like, oh, what am I going to watch next week? I wonder. No, I'm watching it because I'm like, I want to eat ice cream and not pay attention and text someone and just lie down, fall asleep. I want to fall asleep while watching cable. That's
you can
what
do
I
that with
do.
Netflix.
No,
you can't do that with Netflix.
Not for me, because I like watching. If I'm watching something, I'm invested in it.
Right. And you're not invested in what you're watching in cable?
No. Very rarely.
You are somewhat yeah, maybe. Okay, maybe I can kind of relate on that level, just because, but I can do that with like shows I've already watched.
Yeah, like you can rewatch The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like, yeah, I guess you could do that. Also, I did used to watch The Big Bang Theory weekly. That was something I did watch
weekly.
Yeah, like every week. I
just like it comes on like Tuesday or Thursday, like
a new episode comes out on like Thursday.
TBS or something.
Yeah. And then and Survivor, I would watch that too.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'd watch like Survivor, that, and then Game of Thrones, but that was like released like HBO.
Yeah. What is that? Is that
streamed it but released it weekly?
It's what is that? Pay-per-view?
Yeah, it's pretty much. But it was like, I don't know
what it's kind of considered.
No, it wasn't pay-per-view because you had to buy HBO.
But you got to buy HBO regardless.
Yeah, I know. But like I'm saying, like you are paying for the service, but it's not like pay-per-view, because pay-per-view is like,
it's like for one.
It's like watching a boxing match.
Yes. Okay. See, okay, so then I don't know, man. I if you had to pick a percentage of like streaming service against like cable television, which one is the one that you prefer?
Streaming service. Like
see, so why are you
70-30.
So why are you trying to defend TV?
Because I like the idea of cable. I don't know, maybe it's nostalgic, but I like the idea of it.
You know what you should do? You should kind of say that like an old grandpa voice and just be like one of those guys that never wants anything to change.
Oh. Yeah?
Yeah. No. But at the same time...
Math is math. Who changed math? Math is math. That's what I'm imagining, like from The Incredibles. Incredibles 2.
Math is math.
Yeah.
Why would you change math?
Yeah. So good.
We were talking about Napoleon.
No, now we're talking about Napoleon. Where are we, dude? Now we're talking about freaking Napoleon Dynamite.
It's a sledgehammer.
You ever go over any sick jobs? No.
Yeah, that movie was awesome. Dude, but now we're talking about nostalgia. And, how we... You remember how we were talking about, like...
Technology at the beginning of the podcast?
Yeah. But it's just, like, it's... That's what it's kind of come down to. People underestimate the power of nostalgia. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, if you had to pick your cartoon channel to kind of give you the basis of your childhood.
Cartoon channel. Nickelodeon.
That's Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network.
Maybe Disney.
Disney Channel, PBS.
No, can't miss me with PBS. I didn't
Dude,
watch PBS.
you never watched? Yes,
No.
you did. Don't lie.
I watched it, but like it wasn't my thing.
Yeah, but it was part of your
my thing.
childhood.
Yeah, but when you said if you had to pick a cartoon channel, Nickelodeon.
I did. Okay. Nickelodeon, was it?
Yeah.
Which one else is there? Is that it?
I mean, there's Toonami,
Oh, yeah.
Boomerang.
Boomerang. Remember Jet X? It's like, it was like in Toon Disney.
I didn't watch Toon Disney.
No, but it was like afterward. It was like the nighttime one.
I don't remember.
You remember?
No.
I don't remember. For all you Jet X fans that remember, just comment down below. But
I remember Rocket Power.
Oh, dude, I loved Rocket Power.
But not the point. I had something I wanted to say, and I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Nostalgia?
No. Yes. No. Yes. No.
Streaming service? HBO?
No, just keep talking. It'll come to me eventually,
Oh, okay.
and I'll just interrupt you.
Okay, well, that's the thing. Like, I'm going back on like a lot of this stuff that Fox owns that is going to be like Simpsons is going to be there.
Mhm.
A lot of big television series, and I think that's where it's going. Like television, I don't think it's not going to leave per se, but it's going slowly.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
It is. Do I want it to? No. Is it? Yes.
I wanted to.
You do?
Kind of.
You're done with cable?
I never watch it. You don't have it. Boom.
I do have it.
Yeah, we all have it. We just don't use it. I remember even we had it, and we never use it. Exactly. You don't even have it plugged into your TV in your living room.
At home, I have it.
Your mom or your dad has it.
Yeah. I use it.
When are you ever there?
When I'm home.
Anyways. But with that being said, I do
Go on.
I do think that just because a lot of these things that are like they're inflating to the point where now it's going to get to the point where
Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. That's what I wanted to say. It's a quote from Albert Einstein, and
Yes.
it is amazing.
I've heard it from other people, but yeah, it's Albert Einstein.
But no, regardless of who you heard it from, it's
I
his
know,
quote. They
it's
are
just
plagiarizing him. But
yes.
the point is, when you're talking about like, do you want it to stay the same, or do you want it to like? Because you're saying, do you want it to stay the same, or do you want it to move forward? As much as I want it to stay the same, I know it has to move forward in order for progress to be made.
Right.
So, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I remember like us talking about, and I mean this is kind of going to a different topic, but I remember like us talking about the differences between our schedules. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Kind of like, and so
Night owls are at more risk of health problems
yeah, I didn't know that.
because they're being forced to adhere to a schedule they're not suited
They're not
for.
suited for. Well, and it's not socially. I just think that's just how it is.
That like you literally like it's something that like you hurt your body forcing it to wake up. Like it's like,
Right.
well, screw you. So
And like the night crew or like night stalkers that don't get enough like hours to sleep, or like people that work overnight. It's just like the people that are driving on the road.
well, yeah, but if that suits their sleep schedule, that's fine. But like if they're a morning
Is
person,
it fine?
yes, it says, because if they're a morning person and they're doing that, then no, it's bad for your health. But we don't see that as much because most people's schedules are in the acceptable range. It's like if you wake up within 2 hours of, I think it was 2 hours of 7 o'clock,
Right.
and you go to bed like naturally, and you fall asleep within 2 hours of, I think it was 11 o'clock, then you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, no matter what, no matter what you're doing, it'll be fine. But it's when you get out of that range, when you start to have an issue. If you naturally like get tired at like 4 a.m. and you wake up at 11,
it's
a.m.
essentially the same, because that's what you're selling. You were not selling to me, but you were telling me. Like it doesn't matter. Like, because I think you thought just because I did 5, I would wake up like around 5 o'clock just to kind of get that like goal oriented mindset. It was the key to all I said was that kind of did teach me to time manage.
Right, but are you suited to wake up at 5 o'clock?
And that was
or
our
are
other
you
thing.
forcing yourself to?
No, because I even told you that I was a morning person.
All right, then yeah. So you're not gonna have. But if I were to force myself to wake up at 5 and go to bed at 10, I would be unhealthy. I would develop health problems. I feel, because based on what I was reading a lot of doctors and such.
Doctor,
Doctor, help me. But yeah, a lot of doctors and such on that, and it was like, oh, you're gonna die. Pretty much was the consensus. You're gonna develop some stuff because you're forcing your body to do things that it doesn't want to do at times it's not suited for. But if I feel great when I go to bed at 4 a.m. and I wake up at 11, that's what happened to me today, and I'm such a good mood.
Not to mention we have work right after this, so that's what it's like.
8
it's
minutes.
So fun. Yeah, it'll be fun.
It won't. So, because you start later, I start at 3. So yeah.
No, that's like kind of like it's the same principles that I looked at with health, or like it's just not everybody's suited to wake up at 5. So like if anybody wakes up like at 8 o'clock and can get their like the most productive at 8 o'clock once they wake up and they get a lot of shit done, then 5 o'clock isn't maybe the ideal thing for you. But like for their schedule and their lifestyle, the way that they implement,
you gotta find what works for you.
Yes.
What you're suited for.
Right.
And I think that's like something, I think jobs are starting to lean towards this. You see a lot of more startup companies have a lot of flexible hours.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, you can, as long as you get the work done today, come in when it suits you, leave when it suits you.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you get your work done today.
Right.
And that's something I really like because, I mean, when I go into the workforce, I mean, right now I'm kind of lucky that as a CP, we get these late ass shifts because I can go to bed at 4 in the morning and I can wake up at 11. And sure, I'm going to miss out on some of the fun things that y'all do like beforehand. Like, they went to like Disney Springs or whatever.
What?
Yeah. But, so I'll miss out on some of the fun things that you guys do, but it's like, I'll feel better otherwise. Whereas like, if I were to work at the other job I was going to have over the summer, I would have had to wake up at 7.
Yeah.
Every day. And Andrew doesn't wake up at 7. For classes, I don't schedule before 11.
Yeah. See, that's me. I would schedule my classes before 11. That's just and you're not wrong there, but I think
and there's a stigma against me.
The stigma
against me about people like me who wake up late. Or they're lazy.
No, I'll get all my work done at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, and like you remember how you told me before, like you get more productive, but it can also be a different way to say that you're creative around the time that's
a better way to say that.
Yes.
I'm like, that's my functioning hours.
Yes, because I'm more creative during the like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and I'm just like, oh shit, like I can get shit done.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, maybe just like whoever's listening, they can have like a sense of understanding that, like, maybe they've never heard of that, like the whole like waking up at 5 a.m. And if they did, their schedules aren't in tune with how that lifestyle is.
Figure out your rhythm. It's important.
Yes, because like overall, I think that's what's going to help the individual figure out like how to time. And I think time managing is probably the better way to conclude it. To kind of say like, okay, I know how to do this at this certain time. I can do that at that certain time. Yeah, and I can go to sleep at this certain time. Because you shouldn't
put your creative ventures, or you shouldn't put like your work that you need the most brain power at at the times where you're like in your lows, because it goes little wave after wave,
after wave.
Yeah, so
wave after wave.
That's that on that.
Yeah. Well, guys, this was
all over the place.
This was a lot of everyone. I like.
Sorry about that.
No, I mean I like that because we go to different topics and it was still it's still at the end of the day.
This was supposed to be about technology, but my brain, vegetable 2.0. right, we're done. I'm
Yeah,
done.
we're done.
You can
Okay. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Johnny Reviews. Like you said, like I said, it's Johnny, and on the other side of the table, this is Andrew Dagher.
Check me out on Medium. I'm posting another one. I only have one so far, but another second one's gonna come.
Yeah, so he's gonna have a lot more things up there, guys. Like I said, he's always welcome back. I love him coming on, and shit, we just love to talk about either certain topics or all around topics. It doesn't matter.
Entertainment, lifestyle, philosophy.
Yes, everything. And thank you. Just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Any way to help you guys remember that my channel is here to give you all of that entertainment and informative feedback that I and my guests will give us. But thank you guys for tuning in to Johnny's Reviews. I'll see you later, guys. Andrew, you want to just wave at them out? Bye, guys. We got work here pretty soon.